have an old 401k or a workplace retirement plan that you've left behind and forgotten about? If so, you are not going to want to miss today's video. I'm Kristen Oakley here with David Lundberg. He is the founder of Love, Light, Flourish. And David, this is really fascinating. You know, the average American has 5 old dormant accounts floating around out there. This has happened because no longer are we working one job our whole working careers. A lot of folks are working a lot of different jobs. And so the question on the table today is, when should someone roll over or move that old 401k, that old workplace retirement plan that they've left behind?
No, yeah, it's a great question. And the 401k of so many people, they have it in their employer when it goes there. They put a default 5%, put it on autopilot, and they kind of just forget about it. But when they change jobs, we kind of call it your get out of jail free card. Because people don't know, but if you're below the age of 59 and a half and you take that money out, you can get a 10% early withdrawal penalty by the IRS and get taxed on top of that.
Right, if you withdraw that money.
If you withdraw the money.
Right.
But when you leave that employer though, it's your get out of jail free card that you can transfer that over into an IRA and it's no taxable event. So you can now move that to an IRA where you have way more choices for investments and you can usually help out your retirement by doing that.
I'm excited to unpack this a little more because, to your point, a lot of folks, I think the reason why these old accounts get left behind is because they don't know what to do with them, right? Or they're not aware, or they've heard about the penalty and they're scared of incurring that, and rightly so. So talk about how this rollover process actually works.
Yeah, so when you have a 401k, for example, that's out there and you leave that employer or you change jobs, you can then do a rollover where you fill out that employer and you might move it from company A over to company B into an IRA is what it is. Now that it's in the IRA, you can go ahead and have way more stocks, ETFs. You can even do different kinds of annuities to protect your money now that it's out of that 401k.
So let's talk about that too, because really the benefits of doing this rollover versus leaving it behind, you mentioned more options, right?
Yeah, correct.
So talk about some of the, more in depth of how someone can then have more choice and more control over their own money.
Yeah, I mean, when they're in their 401k, they have a limited number of options based on their plan sponsor that they have. So you might have 20 or 30 funds in there that you're limited to, and there's no annuities at all either on there. So if you can move that money now, roll it over to an IRA, you now have choices of all the stocks, all the ETFs, all the mutual funds, but you can also do different kinds of annuities to protect part of your money that still allow growth as well.
So all the different investment vehicles and tools that are out there become available to you, essentially.
Correct. And the other big thing is, too, people don't know is, but now you can do an IRA to Roth IRA conversion potentially to look at that, because when it's in a 401k, most employers don't allow you to roll that over to a 401k Roth style. So now that it's rolled over to an IRA, you can have some extra tax savings potentially by looking into doing conversions in the IRA account.
So talk about how a Roth conversion works, because I know there's a lot of confusion out there for folks with that as well.
Yeah, I mean, for our firm here, we specialize in it. We want you to have more money in the long term, keeping taxes in your pocket on there. So when you convert money from an IRA, typically, let's say $10,000, that $10,000 gets added to income for that current year. So then you'd be taxed on that income amount for that year. Well, now that money in a Roth IRA account is now tax-free because it's been taxed, can grow tax-free, and in the future, it doesn't count against your Social Security benefits either when you take that money out.
Right, so the tax-free growth, and then when the money comes out, it's tax-free as well.
Correct, yeah. I mean, you can keep more money of your Social Security by having more money in a Roth account potentially.
Right. Now, I know some folks have the misconception that they can't do a Roth conversion based on how much income they're making. Talk about that, because that is a misconception.
Yeah, there's no income limitations on the conversions of a Roth amount on there, but typically at our firm here, if you're going to have a 28% or 32% tax, typically we won't do it because the break even to it's not so great. But if you're in a 22% bracket and you can break even, say after 7 years of those taxes, after 20 or 30 years, you could save a lot of money in taxes.
Now, how often are you finding when folks come in to meet with you for a free consultation that they have an old 401k or an old workplace retirement plan that they've left behind? Have you seen this a lot? Yeah,
I would say more than half the time it happens if someone has an old 401k or they just left that employer and they're not sure what to do with it.
But that's where you can come in and really help, right?
Yes.
Wonderful. Well, if you're watching and you have an old account floating around out there, you would like some help executing this rollover, again, this is for no cost, no charge, no obligation. The team of Love, Light, Flourish would love to help and serve you. To get connected with David and the team, we invite you to call the number you see below.